I will upload this to BTCT, okay, we are going to film it, so if you need to go back over it, you can. Once we've done the roots, it should take you 25 minutes for assessment, okay, so that's what you're working towards. It shouldn't take you any more than 40 minutes today, I would say. Yeah, it's very similar to a colour condition application, apart from we're not doing mid lengths and ends, we're doing roots only. Yeah, so it's the same application as your scalp treatment, so you all know the process, okay, it's just how you put the colour on and what we're going to put on. You're all going to do some sort of red today, okay, I'm just going to use the red Weller's Bev, okay, so I'm going to use that. I'm going to use permanent colour, yeah, some sort of red, either me or Bev will give you the colour, and you're going to use it with 6%, okay. Lots of people have been asking me, do we ever use bleach? If we ever use bleach, we only ever use bleach and 6% at level 2. Yeah, we do not use anything else, okay? And that will come. And the reason we're doing reds today, we will do a mid-length and ends next week. If we did highlights on your blocks first, or highlighted it, you'd have nothing else to work with. And once you put bleach on, it literally just send them to pot, yeah, okay? And people who've had bleach on the hair know it doesn't always feel the same once you've had it done, okay? Yeah, so we have to make sure we're working the right way on our blocks, okay, so we're going to do roots this week, next week will be mid-lengths and ends, alright, which is a follow-on from what we're doing this week. In between, Shannon's going to ask other people to volunteer, so once we've done the colour regrowth, we are then going to skin test each other. Everybody's going to be skin tested today. So when it comes to colouring after Christmas, if one of your bubble, yeah, or somebody model doesn't turn up, you can then start colouring each other's hair, okay, alright? But we all have to be skin tested, so we're going to do that today, alright? So, Shannon, that'll be your job once you've finished that, okay? So please, you're going to put your roots on, you're going to be skin tested, or we might have a break about then, but you're definitely going to be skin tested today and we need to record it, okay? It's really important. If we don't skin test, what can happen?
Allergic reaction.
Yeah, what's the worst scenario of allergic reaction?
Your skin, it can, like...
Death?
Death?
Yeah, you can go into anaphylactic shock. Yeah, if you have a reaction to hair, yeah, you can actually die if it's not treated properly. That is the severest effect, but just think about it. If you have a client who comes in and said, yeah, I've been skin tested at the shop down the road, and you take the word and they have an anaphylactic shock, and then you need to call the ambulance, and then what's going to happen to you?
You're not having a job.
You're going to get sued, yeah? Yeah, and if you've got no insurance, again, this is another big thing, if you have no insurance, yeah, what's going to happen?
Your skin.
You're going to lose your business, you're going to lose your home, you're going to lose everything. And they always recommend that you get skin tested up to at least $1 million. Yeah, because just imagine someone nearly dying, losing all the hair, they're going to want a lot more from you than $1 million, aren't they? Yeah? So anybody who ever thinks they're ever going to go mobile or on their own, please make sure you are well insured, because this is the consequence of it. But yes, some people can die from anaphylactic shock. It's very rare, but you could just happen to have that client in front of you who is exceptionally allergic to it.
So what happens if one of us is allergic today and we die?
No, we're not blocks, aren't we? So.
Well, yeah, we've got a skin patch.
Yeah, but that's why you have a skin test, because if you're allergic, you can wipe that little bit off. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so you're not having it all over your head. So worst case scenario is you could go into anaphylactic shock, okay, and you could die. So, and obviously I don't know, with COVID as well, people have been more susceptible, yeah, and have been a little bit more sensitive to COVID. And we've had people who've got their own salons who've been saying they've been ultra vigilant, yeah, because people who've had COVID seem to be extra sensitive, yeah, so this could be a thing for the future. You just definitely need to make sure you are following all procedures, okay? Alright, so we have different ways of putting regrowths on, but we are just going to follow the basic application. If you went to Weller, they start at here, go back, and then they bring everything back. Yeah, you go to L'Oreal, they might do a different way. But you just need to know the basic way to apply, okay? L'Oreal and Weller try and reinvent the wheel, so they try and make it something different to make it look exciting, how to put colour on. So we're just going to go the 4 basic ways. Do you want to take your coats off, girls, so you don't get too hot before we start, yeah? Better open, can you open the windows behind you as well? The ones that need to. Okay. So, what do we do? What we doing when we put in permanent colour on? Anybody got any idea?
Wear gloves.
Yeah, wear gloves. Why do we do permanent colour, do you think? Anybody any idea?
It's a little pain in your skin.
Yeah? Why permanent though and not other colours? Obviously, I know you've all used maybe
It'll
colours.
pain your hand and it won't come off.
Yeah, but why are we using permanent colour for the client?
So it'll stay on.
So it's not going to wash out, yeah? So if we're using permanent colour, it's not going to wash out. Why do we use permanent colour, do you think? What do we want to cover? the roots, yeah, because they could have come through a different colour, but what else? Think of, I've got them in my hair. Grey, yeah, we're obviously culling a lot of grey hair. A lot of clients these days, we don't need to use permanent colour, do we, Bev? You know, a lot of them we tend to go with quasi colours, semi-colours, yeah, because you don't necessarily need to use permanent colour on a lot of people. Colours are really good these days. So we tend to use it on our clients where we're covering grey, or our older clients who've got used to having a permanent colour and would feel very different if we started to change that, okay? But we tend to not do as many permanent colours these days as we used to do, unless it's a complete colour change, yeah? And obviously if you're lighter and you want to go dark, you'd use permanent colour, yeah? But it's generally majority, I would say, to cover grey these days, yeah? And it can be anything from 0% to 100%. And again, when you're doing your consultation, you need to be looking at that, all right? We have what's called barrier cream, okay? So if you're going dark, yeah, or darker than the natural colour, you need to make sure you put some sort of protection around them, okay? We need to decant this out, yeah? It's quite thick, but you would decant it into your bowl and you make sure you put it around the hairline, but do not get it on the hair, because what do you think is going to happen if you put it on the hair?
It won't take it.
It won't colour, yeah, because it is protective, yeah? So especially all around here, make sure you put it over tops of their ears as well, okay? All around the hairline, all the way around, okay? We do have stain remover, but I never think stain remover works as well.
Baby wipes are really good.
Baby wipes, yeah. But tint on tint removes tint, so we'll do that at the end anyway. But emulsifying colour, yeah, that's how it removes colour, okay? Alright, so you're going to section off into your 4 sections, so you're all going to do this morning. And then we're going to measure our colour out. Always make sure you're wearing your gloves, okay, when we're doing any chemical treatments. And I would say we need to follow manufacturer's instructions, but everybody needs to dispense 30 mils of colour, okay? When I started, we used to measure everything, yeah? We used to measure everything into a cylinder. Scales came, and it did make a difference. Yeah, when I started using, you could see that better coverage, couldn't you, ever so slightly. So please, you should make sure you're using your scales at all time, okay? If someone said to me, well, there's no scales, there's no jug, I could more or less accurately measure it out and it would be okay, but that's through experience. So at your stage, nobody should be free-handing this colour, okay? Me and Bev could more than likely do it all and it'd be absolutely fine, yeah? But you need to know how to do it. So the scales tell you, so I'm going to dispense 30 mils. If it's really, really fine hair and you think 20 mils is going to cover it, as you get a little bit more experience, that's what you'll do, okay? So, and we're going to use 6% developer. I know you don't all know about the developers at the minute, but this is what you normally use for permanent colour, okay? When you're not going any higher than 2 shades of lift, alright? So I've dispensed 30, and it's a 1-to-1 ratio, so how much of this do you think I'm going to put in? It's a 1-to-1. 30, yeah, so permanent colour is generally 1-to-1, whichever manufacturer, but always check manufacturer's instructions. So that's going to make it up to 60. So you have to use your maths and your quarters and your halves and your thirds, yeah? Then you need to mix it thoroughly, okay? If you're ever mixing 2 colours together, you need to mix the 2 colours together before you put your developer in, okay? To guarantee that you've mixed it properly. Don't be doing this, yeah, because it'll be flying all over. Keep it in your bowl, yeah? And mix it there. Okay. You didn't get any brushes in your kit, did you? Tinting brushes. We have got enough there, if not I've got some more in my kit. So it will look a different colour, and your clients might be panicking a little bit when they see the colour. That's not the colour I wanted, because it could be lighter or darker. But once the colour oxidises in the air, it does change colour. Okay, so they'll be saying, that's not the colour I had last time. They'll be saying, yes it is. Okay, if you're bad, you've got to make sure you reassure your client. So generally clients come in between, I'd say, 3 weeks and 12 weeks for roots. So roots can vary from 1 centimetre to 1.5 inches, 2 inches on a regular basis, okay? So you need to see how much regrowth there is. I'd say my lady, we can't see much, but I'm going to be about 1 inch. Yeah, so she's literally about a 10-week client, okay? So that's what we're going to do. Don't want to see it anywhere else on the hair, yeah? Just on that inch, and that's where you've got to start controlling it. So we're going to start down the centre, like we do everything else here, and across. So you're going to do your hot cross bun section, because it gives you your sections. Okay. And you need to be timing yourself at this stage. I know it's going to take you longer today, yeah? But you need to know how long it's taking you, okay? And you will literally get about 15-20 minutes in salon to do it. It generally take you a little bit longer. Well, that's how long it will be. It's why somebody's being shampooed, you'll put your colour on, okay? So, and please put it on the roots. I had one student on Tuesday, one adult, didn't put it on the roots. She avoided the roots but put it on the hair. Yeah, so you need to make sure you put it on the roots, otherwise it's quite difficult to get it on the hair without the roots. She didn't think she was supposed to get it on the scalp. Yeah, so literally all the way down there, sides. Who's not had the colour done in a salon before? Kathleen, yeah. Jasmine, Emily, Gracie, yeah. So it is a different experience when you go to a salon, yeah, and have your hair done rather than have you done it at home with those well instead? No, Emily, Jasmine, yeah, Gracie, yeah. It's always nice to go and have it done in a salon, yeah. It's a different experience than doing it at home and doing it over the bath and getting your colour everywhere and your mum's shouting at you because you've got your towels coloured. So literally 1 inch black. Did you get it everywhere, Gracie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mum wasn't too impressed? No? Okay. So I've done my hot cross bun section, okay? I'm going to start at the back now, and again, people might have slightly different ways of doing it, but this is the way I do it, okay? And obviously this is one of the ways you can do it for VTCT. You need to take a small section, no deeper than a centimetre, otherwise the colour won't go through to the other side. A little bit of colour on, inch, but make sure it's covering that section, yeah, okay? So if you don't, you're only going to get half a colour. So make sure you put plenty on, but not too much. 30 mil should do your roots, so if you've got 1/4 done, and it's not exceptionally thick hair and you've used it all, you've put too much on, okay? So you need to judge how much you're putting on. So a centimetre deep. I know there's plenty on there, okay, at the top, because I put plenty on, and I was going to go over it anyway, just to make sure. Then I'm going to put a little bit more on. And I'm going to do the same all the way through. I want to see neat sections. You can't do this higgledy-piggledy. Yeah, you have to work on your neat sections. If you don't, colour's going to develop differently, yeah, depending on where you've put it and how you've applied it. So it needs to be even throughout. If you haven't done it, especially on a block, you will be able to see the scalp, okay? That's not necessarily so on a client, but it is quite obvious when it's developing when you've not put the colour on. So please, once you've done it, check through your colour. So you can see I'm going back and doing the top. Some people just put plenty on and do it down. I know lots of people who do that. Which way are you, Bev?
Sorry, sorry, okay.
Some people put colour on just down, but make sure they don't go back because they put plenty on. Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to work all the way through. How long do you think we're going to leave the colour on for? Hannah, can you put your phone away, please? Yeah.
Whatever it says in the instructions.
Whatever it says in the instructions. Approximately, most permanent colours are 30 minutes. Yeah, okay, for the roots. But like you say, always check your manufacturer's instructions, okay? But yeah, it's about 30 minutes. If you go there, sorry, if you just get me a box out the bottom cupboard.
Tin box?
Yeah, one of the Maxell ones. Oh, maybe one of the white ones, that's one of the old ones, sorry. So these are the colours we use for training. We use them on clients as well. If you run out of weller colours, we use these colours, yeah? There isn't a great difference in them, they cover exactly the same, yeah. If you just give the instructions to, who wants to see, yeah? You try and find on there, if you can, where it says about the timings for this, yeah? Also on the side of that box it says 1:1 and 1:2. So 1:1 means it can be mixed permanent. 1:2 means it can be mixed as a quasi, so it becomes a quasi colour. It's not a semi-colour. Like I say, you won't understand all the differences yet till we do it. But it means we can actually use that as a quasi colour. Okay, so the ambidextrous colours, so we can use them for different things. Okay. So when we come to do a quasi, we can use the same colours, but just use them differently. Alright. So we're going to work through the next one. And you notice I'm not putting clips in and I'm not tightening it up. Yeah, if you do that and put a clip in and tighten to the root, it's going to pull the colour off the root. Okay, so unless it's extremely long hair, then you could just plait it to get out of the way. Yeah, but don't put clips grabbing the scalp. Yeah. So we're just going to work through. Obviously, I'm conscious of timing.
15 to 30 minutes.
15 to 30 minutes. So we're all going to work to the timings of 30 minutes. Okay, once you put your colour on today, me or Bev are going to come and check, make sure that we think you've applied it properly. Like I say, we won't always know until it's developed. You won't see a great deal of difference in these colours because your blocks are dark and we're using reds. You think it goes bright, it doesn't. Because we're using a permanent colour and we're only using a 6% developer. So you're not going to get any lift. We're just doing it for toning. Alright? So you'll just see a difference that way. So don't be thinking you're going to see amazing results, because you're not. But it's more about the application, but you need to use colour, yeah, to understand it. And every manufacturer is different, okay? Colour removal, do you think we need to wear gloves? Yeah, especially at this present time, agent, yeah, we need to make sure we're wearing our gloves when we're doing colour removal, okay? When you have a colour and it's really dark and you have got some on the client's scalp, what do you think you're going to do? Anybody works in the salon, Gracie? What do you do when it's someone really dark and you're trying to get tint off? Do they have any special formulas in your salon?
Stain remover.
Just stain remover?
Yeah.
Best thing to do is tint on tint, yeah? Is rub the colour into itself, piece of cotton wool and wipe it off. Yeah, tint on tint will remove tint. But once you start to put shampoo on and water, you've lost it. Yeah, it needs to be tint on tint before you put your shampoo on. Another way we used to do cigarette ash. Yeah, slightly abrasive will remove colour if you're ever desperate. Milk, yeah, will remove colour. Yeah. So there's different ways. They're old-time recipes, but they still do work. Okay. And there is stain remover, but I tend to use stain remover as a last resort. Yeah, because we shouldn't really get to that stage. And stain remover doesn't always remove it, does it, Gracie? No. So you better doing all the other things first, okay? So again, I'm just going to use the back end of my brush just to pull it out to make sure the air is circulating the same all the way around, okay, underneath. Coming to the front. Now I'm going to take it back off the lady's face so she's not sat with it on her face. So again, section going back. Okay. So we've just said the worst thing is somebody could die from anaphylactic shock. Yeah? What else could happen? If you burn somebody's scalp, what's going to happen to the scalp?
Blister.
It's going to blister, isn't it? You're not going to be able to do anything with it, yeah? And I have got some pictures somewhere, especially it's more perms to be honest, but it's horrendous. It leaves horrendous results, yeah? So you need to be conscious of that. If somebody says their scalp is tingling, it is generally sometimes okay, but at the moment I would be taking extra precautions on any tingling sensations. If they start saying it's getting red, it's getting hot, I would just take it off. Yeah, okay. And especially when you will be working at home and you'll be doing people, yeah, you'll be going, yeah, it's okay, I'll try a little bit at home and I'll do my friends. If it starts to do that, get it off. It's not worth your job, yeah, your career for it going wrong.
Then it'll just come off with water.
Yes. Well, you yeah. Rinse it off to cool it down first, yeah, but then you need to remove it with shampoo, yeah. As I'm going round, obviously I can see a little bit of seepage there, so I'm just going to wipe as I'm going along. Don't be scared to take your gloves on and off. When you're with one client, and especially with your block, make sure you've just got a towel and just make sure you keep wiping your towels, okay? I don't want tint all over my bottles, yeah? I wipe my hands before I come back to my bottle, okay? Because we're working on blocks, yes, it's okay to wear that same pair of gloves, yeah? Until you've finished the colour application. So I'm going to do the next section now. So you can see it is developing, okay? And this is like a dark, ready, plummy colour I put on here. So again, we're just going to make sure it's all off her face, all away from her. Anybody got any questions about anything up to now? No? Okay, so how much are we going to mix ourselves in 5-10 minutes?
30.
30? How much the developer?
30.
Okay. Do we dye hair or do we colour hair?
Colour.
Yeah, so we don't want any dyeing anymore, yeah? We're all colouring hair, yeah? What is the difference? Dyeing is what we do at home, yeah? Colouring is what we do in the salon, yeah? It's just a more professional term, Hannah, yeah? Us hairdressers don't like to say we're dyeing people's hair, yeah? We're colouring people's hair. When you're also doing record cards, when we do clients, you need to make sure you have got the correct client's card. There could be 3 Mrs. Smiths, but they all live at different addresses. If you don't check the different address, guess what? Mrs. Smith who lives down that way might end up with Mrs. Smith who lives up there in completely different colours. One's blonde, one's dark. Again, it has happened to me. I asked a junior to go and mix a colour. I think it was Mrs. Hurst, and we had 2 Mrs. Hurst. Someone had taken the wrong card out. We generally get the cards. We used to get the cards out the day before, put them in the back ready for the day's session. We haven't checked yet. She come out and I'm thinking, yeah, it's okay, it must be a new YouTube. And then within 2 minutes I could see the colour developing. I'm like, can you just bring the Mrs. Hurst record card here, which we never take into the salon normally, apprentice brought it out, and I'm like, right, okay, sorry, Mrs. Hurst, we're going to have to shampoo. She's like, oh, and she was a regular client, so she was fine. We just knew the colour had been wrongly mixed. Not everybody is as lenient, yeah? They'll be like, well, you put the wrong colour on, yeah? But you need to make sure you can't hide that fact, yeah? That client knows that normally the colour should be applied and they should be left to, for 25, 30 minutes. If you start washing the colour off, they know something wrong, so you have to explain to them. Yeah, some things you can't back out of or get around, you need to tell them the truth. Okay, so again, I'm just going to make sure where it ends. Always have a bit of cobble, that's what I do when I've got a real client in front of me, yeah? And the blocks do stain more than the actual people sometimes, so again, especially if you're going to be doing your creating image on your blocks, make sure they're clean because you don't want a tinted face for the competition. Okay, so that's took me, roughly 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, but I have been talking. Okay, so I'm just going to use the comb, back of it, just to make sure it's all even. We can use heat sometimes, yeah? In here, when we have clients, it's very hot, yeah? And we tend to not be in a rush, yeah? So you don't generally need to use the heat, and we've only got a couple of UVA lamps anyway, yeah? But we tend to let it develop naturally. But we can use heat, and in salons you will use heat if you're running a busy salon on a day, it's only going to take 20 minutes under the heat, yeah? And that lady's going to be in and out, okay? So we can use heat. Again, you read your manufacturer's instructions. Okay, so this is what we're going to get to, okay? So you'll literally be working on your timings of 25 minutes to get to this stage, okay? But me and Bev are going to help you to mix your colours, yeah? Any questions? No? Okay. All right, so you ladies who need to go and get your lockers, get your PPE, get yourselves back in here as soon as you can, okay? Okay, so we're just coming to the end of the session. All right, so this is, obviously my block was a lot lighter, so you see a slightly different result. But can you see the result? Yeah, you should be able to see. It is slightly darker than the end. Yours, I know it's not as easy to see, yeah, but it is more of a tonal thing we did today. Did you all expect to see the colour really bright?
No.
Did anybody? I would have done it at your age. I would have thought I'd have seen a
I
big
expected
difference.
to see some difference,
Yeah.
but I didn't.
Well, you more than likely would if you get the ends and put it on the roots, you'll see some sort of tonal difference. Okay, so when we start using developers and different lifts of colour, we'll see something different. But again, this is what most people are having in salons. They're having root melts. They're just sort of melting the colour into what they've already got. But some people have actually learned to love the colour they are with lockdown, and the colours have changed. Yeah, so our industry is changing slightly from where it was all full lead foil, as I would say a couple of years ago, weren't it? But it's now coming to different things like this. Yeah, so it is more subtle, more respect, but it's conditioning on the hair as well, yeah? Okay, so there's lots of different things we can do. So that is the result you will be looking for. And obviously at some stage, once you've started doing your highlights on your hair, you'll be able to do the roots, yeah, and get the same result back, okay? Alright, thanks, Beth.